It's Christmas. Okay, so if you're here, then you have been welcomed to the oxtail recipe that is finally here. So sit back, relax, get yourself a little beverage, and let me show you how I make my oxtail. Okay, so in this bowl there is about 20 pounds in money of meat. But you know what we're going to do, because this is going to get complicated for you guys. We're going to weigh it out. We're going to weigh it out, so hold on. Okay, so I will put how much exactly is in there, because I have weighed it, but I need to do the conversion and all of that. So don't worry about it for now. Everything will be in the description. Just make sure that when you get your meat, it's chopped up into chunks and it's not just like the big pieces of oxtail, okay? Because then, I don't know, it looks more appealing on the plate as well. So anyway, what we're going to do first of all, we're going to add in, let me show you guys what I've got. So I've got some spring onion. I think it's 2 spring onions chopped. Then I've got half of a small Scotch bonnet. I've also got, this should be about a teaspoon and a half of chopped ginger. And then in this, I've got about 3 small garlic cloves chopped up, okay? And then also, I've got some fresh thyme. So this is all of our physical seasoning, so like vegetables and whatnot. So we're going to put those in first. So let's bring the meat up close. Okay, cool. So we're going to put in our spring onion. Our ginger. So that was about 2 teaspoons of fresh ginger. We're going to add in our garlic. And that should be about 2 teaspoons of chopped garlic. And then half of a small Scotch bonnet pepper without the seeds. Okay, no seeds, so then it's not hot and burning off your mouth. Some fresh thyme, and that should just be about a little bit, not too much. Let's see if I can get you guys a bit higher so you can see. Yeah, that's better. And then we're going to start adding some of our actual seasonings as well. Okay, so we're going to add some pimento seeds or allspice berries. So let me show you guys. This is what allspice or pimento looks like. And I'm just going to add, I don't know, like a handful, a little bit like that. So it's a lot of oxtail. I'm also going to add some ground black pepper. And this is going to be about 1.5 teaspoons. I'm going to add some ground ginger as well. That'll be about 1 teaspoon of that. Some all-purpose seasoning, which is going to be about 2 teaspoons of that. We're also going to add some oxtail seasoning. Today I am using my Jamaica Valley oxtail seasoning. And of this, I'll probably put about 2 teaspoons of this in. Dunn's River also do one as well, so if you can't find this, use the Dunn's River one. Yeah, so about 2 teaspoons of that in there. And then, what else? What else am I missing out? I think that's it actually. Yeah, that's it for now. And also, sorry, we're going to add some browning. Now, a lot of people always ask me like what browning is, and it's basically used, as it says here, for soup, gravies and meats. And in oxtail, it gives it the nice dark colour that you're looking for. I will also be adding sugar to make it darker. If you caramelise sugar and add your meat to it, sorry, it makes it nice and brown. So that's another way to naturally brown meat, but I'm going to do both ways. That's how I get mine to have that nice colour. So add about a tablespoon and a half of your browning. Get a glove on because you're going to need it. I would say for this one you're definitely going to need a glove because yeah, it's just a lot of meat. So get a glove or wash your hands and just be careful. It's totally up to you. And then just begin to mix it in. Make sure you've got a nice big bowl because yeah, again, it's a lot of meat, but this will feed a family basically. So call it, this will feed maybe 4 or 5 people. Yeah, 4 people, let me say that. And maybe a bit of leftovers. So just make sure you get all your pieces covered. And for meats like this, like oxtail, goat meat, mutton, you've got to let it marinate overnight. Marinating it overnight, it just allows those flavors to really infuse in the meat. And to be honest, like tomorrow morning when I get up and you guys get up with me, you know, it's not going to take 10 years to start this off. You'll just start it off in the pot and then it's going to cook for hours. Legit, that's basically how it goes. So let me show you guys how the meat is looking. Get a bit more light. So that's how you want your meat to look. You want it to look brown, well seasoned, nice. Once it's all mixed in and looks like this, what you want to do is cover this with some cling film and you want to just leave it to marinate. Okay, so see the oxtail there? We're going to open this up. Of course, it's been marinating for, well, overnight. And there we go. Ta-da! Boy, this is going to be a nice pot of curry. Look, I can't even talk. This is going to be a nice pot of oxtail, I can already tell. Okay. So, get your oxtail ready, uncover it, and then, if you guys don't know, this is a Dutch pot. Okay, it makes this noise when you open it. It's used in Jamaica to make most of, what would you call it, stews. In our case, obviously, like curry goat, oxtail, stewed chicken, curry chicken, all of that. So that's what I cook in this. Jamaica Valley actually sell Dutch pots online, and I got this at an Afro-Caribbean supermarket. So, you know, you can look around. There's loads of places where you can get it, basically. Google can help. And I will also try and find a couple places. But I definitely know that Jamaica Valley sell their own brand, so that's a good shout. So what you want to do is get your Dutch pot hot. So turn the heat on. If you don't have a Dutch pot, it's fine. Use any pot that you'd normally use to stew down meat in for hours. Okay, so it needs to be a good sized pot. It needs to hold heat well. Yeah. Okay, so here's mine, and as soon as you get it on, turn it down a little bit to medium, let me say, yeah, about medium heat, and put in 2 tablespoons of sugar, and then you need to quickly, let me even zoom in a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. So as you can see, the sugar is beginning to like caramelize a little bit. So what you want to do is get a wooden spoon or spatula. I'm using a spatula in my case, and just begin to let it caramelize like this. Okay, not burn. So that's why you don't want it too high. If it's too high, it will just automatically start to burn. But you want it to start to caramelize and go into like a syrup, because this is what I was speaking about. When you turn it into a syrup, it becomes like a natural browning agent, basically. So all of this will melt down. You put the meat in there, and then it just becomes all sticky and brown. That's the point, okay? So it takes maybe a couple of minutes, but don't rush it, just let it, you know, look, let me zoom in a bit more so you can see. Those bubbles that are being created and formed like here, like that there, if that was to touch your skin, yeah, it's a problem. But this is what you need for the meat, and you're going to understand why. And as you can see, it's starting to go all brown, and it's easier to move now. So once it's like that, because you don't want it to burn, literally quickly get your oxtail and pour it in. Obviously once it's in, just quickly begin to mix it so that it gets coated with all that syrup from the bottom. Once you've mixed it, you just want to brown off all those pieces of meat. Okay, you just want to brown it off and make a little bit of space at the back and just pour a touch of oil, because that will just help with browning it as well, just a little bit, because there's already quite a bit of fat on the meat, so you don't want to add too much to it. Just let that oil heat up as well. Then once it starts to heat up, just begin to mix the oxtail again. And I would say, yeah, brown this for about 5 to 10 minutes. You don't even need to be stirring it so much the way I am. What you can actually do, leave it on medium, put the lid on and let it do that. Because putting the lid on, it keeps in all of that like heat, steam, everything, and it just begins to release the natural juice. So I'm going to leave this for 2 minutes and then lift up the lid so that you can see it, and then you'll get what I mean. So it's on medium right now. Let me turn it down to like medium low. So we've browned it on a medium high heat for about 5 minutes, and then I've turned it down to like medium low now. Okay, and whilst our meat is doing that, I've got the leftover seasoning in this bowl, and what I'm going to do is put 1 beef stock cube in there. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of Maggi Liquid Seasoning, this one, and then I'm going to put in some hot boiling water. Probably about 2 cups of hot boiling water. Let that stock cube dissolve, scrape down all of the seasonings from the bowl so that it comes off of it. And then we're going to check back on our meat. So now the flavours are going. I can really smell that thyme, the pimento. So look. See that? It's just browning off nicely. So this is like the first stage of getting your oxtail where it needs to be. So as you can see, it's not dry, it's not burning or anything. It's almost just giving the outside of that meat a nice coating so that it can start its real cooking process, that slow cooking down, stewing it until the meat falls off the bone, because that's what we want. So I'm going to take my stock now and just pour it into the meat. And then what you want to do, you just want to get the meat to almost sit in the water. You want it all covered So we're going to need a bit more water than this. So basically, make sure that your meat at the beginning is covered with water, totally covered, okay? Because it needs to be able to stew in its juices in that stock and break down the meat to the point where it's not tough anymore. Like right now, this meat is tough. It needs to just take some time right now. So this is enough. And this is enough. Just make sure that your meat is sitting in the water like this. Just push all the pieces down. And then what we're going to do, because this is how Chanell cooks her oxtail, yeah? We're going to turn it to, like, right now it's on medium low. We're going to turn it to medium low. So let me even show you the fire so you can see. So you see that? That's like medium low. So hold on, let me hold it here. That's low. That's medium low. We want to cook this so low and slow that by the time it is falling off the bone, it's not dry. It's still... just come with me, guys. You're going to see. You're going to see how amazing this turns out, okay? But obviously we're going to add more things to this, like onions, butter beans, spinners. If you don't know what spinners are little mini dumplings that you put in this. It thickens up the sauce. So yeah, so we're going to put our lid on now. And now we got to wait. Now we're going to wait and come and check back on this in maybe about 45 minutes, really. And I'm actually going to move it back onto this fire here at the back. So I'm going to put that one on medium low. I'm going to take this part, move it to the back. Yeah, we're just going to let it do its thing. Okay, so we're actually about an hour in now. I thought I'd leave it a bit longer because literally oxtail is the type of meat where it needs to be low and slow. So let me even zoom in so you guys can see. Okay, so as you can see, the meat's just starting to get tender, and this is what we want. So this is still nowhere near fully cooked and where we want it to be at. So what we're going to do now, I've chopped one small onion, so I'm just going to add this now. Mix that in as well. And then I'm also going to add some more water, again just to cover this meat, because you don't want it to be totally saturated, but you also don't want it to how can I put it, you don't want it to dry out. Yeah, you don't want it to come back to the pan and there's nothing left in there. Okay, so just add some more water. And then mix it around again, and then again lid on. So basically what we're going to do after this is we're going to start to add some more things to the gravy to like build it up and make it really nice. But at this moment we're almost just cooking that meat down so that it gets nice and tender, and then we're going to start to add in our other ingredients. Okay, so I'm going to come back and check on this again in about 45 minutes. So at this point it's been on for an hour. So yeah, check on it in another 45 minutes. Okay guys, so it's been about 2.5 hours now, and it's still on that medium low heat, so it's just slowly coming together. You can't see because there is a lot of steam coming out of this pot. So what we are going to do now is put the lid back on and leave it for like another, check on it in another 45 minutes. Okay, so in 45 minutes we're going to check on this again. We may need to add more water, we may need to, or we may not, it depends, but basically you just don't want it to dry out. So right now this is enough water. and we're good to go. I'm also going to add a whole Scotch bonnet to this soon, but not yet. So I'll probably check on it again in about 45 minutes, and then I'll add the whole Scotch bonnet pepper then. Okay, so guys, I've moved it to the front so that you guys can see it without all the steam and whatever, because it's hard to show you guys when it's all steaming up. But anyway, so we're about, gosh, how many hours in are we now? Hold on. Okay, so it's been on for about another 45 to 50 minutes now. So it's been about a total of just over 3 hours now that we've had this on for. I think I'm just about trying to keep up as well, guys, but it's about just over 3 hours. So this is what our meat is looking like now. Let me even get you in a bit closer so you can see. Yeah, so it's getting there. It's nearly there, like really nearly there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add in a whole Scotch bonnet pepper, and don't worry, this isn't going to make it spicy because it's the whole thing. What we just have to make sure is that this doesn't pop, and what that means is that when it cooks in this doesn't burst open. Okay, so you leave it in there for like 30 to 40 minutes maybe, and then take it out, and it just gives it a really nice flavor. So what we're going to do when we put this on for another, like, again, 30 to 40 minutes, we're going to make the dumplings, or the spinners as we like to call them, get those ready, put those in along with the butter beans, and then it will be again another maybe 25 minutes after that. So we've got about another 50 minutes of cooking to do with the oxtail. So I'm going to put this back on, but again, we're keeping it on a low heat, guys. We're not trying to rush it, okay? So this is just still going to be on a low heat with the Scotch bonnet in. Not burn my hand. Put the lid back on, and then yeah, come back to it in about, we'll check on it in half an hour once we've done our dumplings, which should take us no longer than 15 minutes anyway. So just get everything ready, get your plain flour, water and salt. Okay, so it's been about 25 to 30 minutes, so I'm going to quickly whip up some spinners. So this is half a cup of plain flour, make sure it's plain. Put about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then you're going to need some cold water. Now I've just got a little bit in a jug, I don't really measure it out like that, but what you need to do, just pour in a little bit at a time, get your hands, and just begin to work it in. This is literally how I do it every time. You're not going to need much water, so don't pour it all in at once, just do it gradually. Okay. Just keep on mixing it in like so. Pour again. See, that might even be a bit too much flour now. I mean, a bit too much flour, a bit too much water. But I'm hoping it's all good. Yes. So this is actually how you basically make boiled dumplings. So if you wanted to know how to make boiled dumplings, it's basically the same thing. Sorry if you couldn't see it all that time, guys. I realised I was down there rather than here. But yeah, just keep kneading in the flour. And as I said, this is basically the recipe for boiled dumplings, but in Oxtail we call it spinners. And spinners are basically like, okay, well, I'll show you when we're done. Until you've got all that bowl clean. Once your bowl is clean, that's when you know you don't need to add anything more. No more flour, no more water, no more anything. Just make sure you get it all off of your hands as well, any excess. And then once you've got that, that is basically your dough, like this. So just knead into it a bit more, make sure the dough is nice and soft. You can even rest it to the side for a bit if you want. Cover it with a wet towel. It just makes it easier to handle, you know. But I'm just going to knead it for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to drop them straight in. So if I show you quickly, once you get your dough and roll it into little sausage shapes like that, that's a spinner. And when you put these into the oxtail, it thickens up the gravy and adds these little just sausages of amazing goodness. Like these in oxtail for me is the winner. When they've got spinners in, it's just everything. Okay, so now that I've done my spinners, let's take a look at the oxtail, which is basically done, guys. It looks amazing. Take a closer look at that. And as you can see, that Scotch bonnet pepper that we was talking about, it's just in there. Like it's not, it's still got the stem on, it's not popped. This is good. Okay, so I'm even going to leave it in there. Leaving it in there just gives more and more and more. And then if you just look at that meat, nice and tender, full off of the bone goodness. And then what we are going to do now, I'm going to add a little bit more water in, because we're going to add, I'm going to add a little bit more water in because we're going to add our spinners and our butter beans, which I'm going to do now. So first of all, let me turn up the heat so that we can get this going. So I'm going to add, this is about half a tin of butter beans in there, just washed and drained. Using tinned ones is easier because, you know, they don't take long to cook. You're just going to basically put them in and warm them through, really. And then with the, sorry, I'm just trying to get everything situated. Then with the spinners, look, I didn't even end up using all of the dough. I've still got spinners here. So I'm just going to add them in like this. Just literally just lay them down into the gravy of the meat. Just lay them down. At this point you could also remove some excess fat. I'm going to remove it probably in about 5 minutes once the spinners have kind of started to do its thing. So just going to get them in. I may add a few more, who knows, but this will legit be ready in the next 15 minutes. It just needs that time to cook the spinners for the gravy to get thicker, and yeah, just for everything to come together, really. Don't trouble them too much, just try and like make sure that they're all into the sauce and covered. So move the meat around a little bit so that you can get the spinners underneath that gravy. And then again, just turn it down to a low heat. Zoom you guys in. See our oxtail there, nice and juicy. So we're just waiting on the spinners now. So we've got it back on a low heat, and we're going to come back to this in about 15-20 minutes. We're going to check on it and it should be cooked. And here we have it, guys. Our oxtail cooked to perfection, full off of the bone. Juicy, tender, this is what we want. I removed a bit of that excess fat as well, so that the gravy is a bit better, but look at that. Can't get any better than that when it comes to oxtail. You want for it to be nice and tender, juicy. You see those spinners in there as well. Let me pick that up for you as well. Look at that. Look at that. That is exactly what you want. So as I said, after about 15 minutes, once those spinners are cooked, you are good to go. Low and slow is the way that you want to do it so that your meat stays nice and tender. Let me show you guys that gravy. So this is what you want. You want it to just be nice and flavorful. This is what you want when you have oxtail. You just want for it to fall off of the bone. Nice and juicy. You guys now, just so that you know I'm not playing, I've not tasted it at all. So I'm going to taste that little bit there. Okay. That's it. That's it. Yeah. This is what you need. This is what you need. If you like oxtail, yeah, just make this recipe in it. You already know. You already know. Here we have it, guys. We've got oxtail, butter the greens, rice and peas, and macaroni and cheese. The perfect Sunday dinner, last Sunday dinner before Christmas. Obviously got to do it big. Let me just show you guys how tender it is as well. Look at that. Nice, tender, juicy, fall off the bone. That's what you want when you have oxtail. This is exactly what you want. Look at that meat. Look at that meat. Nice, tender, juicy. And then some of that rice and peas. Here guys, take a bite. You deserve it. You deserve it. Make sure you follow me on all my socials, Chanell A. Wallace on TikTok and Food with Chanell on Pinterest, Instagram and YouTube. See you in the next video.